On the average, Ghana football is recording has recorded 7 armed robbery incidents in the last 7 years. That's one each year, averagely. If you look at the graphic here, and looks at the numbers, the first in that sequence was recorded in 2019. It was by a Division 1 League club, Asqua Deportivo. They were attacked on their way to Prestia on April 14, 2019. Then, 2 years later, we had the first in women's football happening to Pelpia ladies who were attacked in Bupe after the match against Ampim Dakwa ladies. That was on December 2021. Then a year later, there was one more. FC Savannah ladies attacked on their way back from Tamale to Kumasi after Dreams ladies game on April 9, 2022 in that period. Then you had another Division 1 League incident. Kasina Nankana FC attacked on their way to Wa, October 10, 2022. That incident happening. For all of these issues, the good news was that there were no casualties. A few injuries here and there, but not fatal. No fatal injuries recorded in that period. Then in 2023, Legon Cities. No, before that, Ashanti Gold were attacked after playing Accra Hearts in Accra. That incident happened at Asin Indra on the 21st of March 2022. And then a year later, Legon Cities, they were attacked after facing Samatex 96, the same Samatex, and on the same stretch of the highway that this armed robbery attack of Brekum Chelsea occurred. Legon Cities first suffered it on November 1st, 2023, before 3 years later, Brekum Chelsea also have suffered that armed robbery attack on that same Bibiani Guaso highway. But there's been a lot of questions about why Premier League clubs in Ghana, Division 1, women's football clubs in Ghana do not travel the day after the match, but choose to travel in the deep of the night, and often without security protection. Brekum Chelsea certainly did not. I interviewed Albert Diewu, who is the communications officer of the club, and he admitted that the club did not have security protection for this one. Not private, not Ghana Police Service, not national security, no security of any kind. It is a bit disturbing, it is a bit disappointing, but it is not unusual because clubs in Ghana often do not travel with security. If you go through the list that I just gave, on no occasion did any of these clubs have a security officer attached to them while they were traveling. 7 incidents in the last 7 years. None of them had any proper security protection. Now, I say this is strange because it doesn't cost money to have security protection. The process is simple. If you're a football club, yeah, if you're an entity and you want security protection for any event, be it a single unit dispatch rider or police escorts with 5 or 6 in a van, all it takes is for you to write to them, yeah? All it takes is for you to write to them, give them advance notice, and then they will let you know what they can do, right? Or the number they can work with, and then you go with them. The only incident or the only situation where you spend money is if you expect them to stay overnight. That one, you have to provide the accommodation and then maybe their lunch or something. But that's it. It is not something that is capital intensive. But our clubs don't do that. So even when they are traveling at night, they would refuse to do that with security. But the reason they refuse to pay for or they refuse to do that small token of lunch to have a police escort is the same reason that they do not sleep over after matches. Money. Now, your average Premier League club travels with a contingent of about between 25 to 40. So you're talking 18 players, 10 backroom staff, about 4 managements, and then 1 or 2 other people tagging along. When it comes to that cost, that works up to between 30 to 40,000 Ghana cedis. That takes care of fuel, miscellaneous, and then a night stay in a hotel. If they have to spend 1 more night, that is where the wahala comes in, because even for the hotel cost, not everyone sleeps in the hotel. So you have, of the 18 players, half of them, or 2 of them will share a room each. 2 players per room. Exceptions will be made for the captain, and then at some clubs, the assistant captain or the vice captain. Head coach and his assistant will not share a room, and that kind of thing. So basically, you would have between 25 or so rooms that the club is paying for. Because these clubs don't have money, they see that expenditure to be beyond their means. This is the reality of our clubs. Look, if in the last 7 years we're averaging 1 armed robbery attack per year, that is an emergency situation. And it's time the Ghana Football Association steps in and looks at this situation with its members. FA has to take only 10 players who are capable of properly protecting their employees, providing good conditions of service to run a functional Ghana Premier League. I'm all for it. I'm tired of this situation where we put Premier League clubs who do not have enough to provide best conditions for their employees and endanger their lives. I'm tired of it.